Morning and welcome to Cyclones Extra, my brand new second channel covering all things Australian cyclones and global cyclones as well. Today, for our first edition of our cyclone broadcasting service, we're going to be taking a look at a developing tropical low over the Northern Territory and specifically near Darwin in the Arafura Sea. Now, this tropical cyclone will likely be forming at the end of this week or into next weekend. Its precursor low is already marked by the Bureau of Meteorology as being a 15% chance of formation, which I believe is very conservative, considering both the Access G3, which mind you is the Bureau of Meteorology's own forecast model, and also the ECMWF forecast model are very keen on this actually becoming a tropical cyclone at some point in its lifespan, and they have been for the last couple of days as well. You can see the precursor low really starting to fire up next Saturday as it moves through some of the Indonesian islands before it probably gets named into the next nameable tropical cyclone, maybe Sunday morning, picking up the name of Tropical Cyclone Robin. Of course, considering this is the Access G3's forecast, it is likely still a bullish forecast, and I do feel like this system might still flop out a little bit and might not be as strong as what is initially expected by the forecast models, but still, however, expecting a category 1 or 2 strength tropical cyclone to move through this part of Australia. And you can see it really does rapidly strengthen throughout the course of Sunday before becoming peaking at a category 2 or maybe even a minimal category 3 strength tropical cyclone Monday morning, very close to Darwin by the looks of things, with peak winds of 113 or 115 kilometers an hour and wind gusts of around 150 kilometers an hour. Actually, no, much stronger than that now. The forecast, or the new forecast, is in with peak wind gusts approaching 200 kilometers an hour Monday morning. This is going to be quite a strong tropical cyclone by the looks of things. It's likely not going to be making a direct hit on Darwin at peak intensity. It'll have to get through Melville Island to do so. So if it does go for Darwin, it will be making a landfall as a much weaker system. But right now, I wouldn't be worrying about a significant landfall on the Northern Territory or the West Australian coastline. This forecast is still about 9 or 10 days away, so a lot will change in the forecast over the next 9 or 10 days, and it's not going to be until about Friday or Saturday that I can really be honing in on specifics in terms of where this tropical cyclone will be going and where exactly it will be making landfall. But this time here, looks like it's going to be quite a strong system at peak intensity before rapidly weakening off. Now, if you've already watched the CyclonesOZ broadcast on this system, you'll understand that conditions won't necessarily be the best possible for this tropical cyclone, but they still will be good at peak intensity. If we take a look at sea surface temperatures around where this tropical cyclone is going to be moving, 29 to 30 degrees Celsius, especially as you get up towards Indonesia. So the sea surface temperatures will not be a problem for this system at all. It will have adequate fuel to rapidly intensify around Western Australia and the Northern Territory. 29 to 30 degrees is perfect for tropical cyclone intensification, so it won't be having a problem in that regard. However, it's going to be mid-level humidity values and also I believe wind shear that's going to really get to this tropical cyclone as well. Be able to notice as we get into next week, later on Sunday and into Monday, there's going to be a lot more drier air moving through around the Northern Territory, being sucked in from the Northern Territory and West Australian deserts from these fresh southeasterly winds, which is going to be kind of, it will be as a part of that changeover weather that they're really starting to see in the Northern Territory and Western Australia at this time. But if we were to take that up a notch into the mid-levels and have a look at what was happening around the flight levels in regards to this tropical cyclone's formation, you'll see that there's a lot of reds, oranges, and blacks, and that indicates some very dry air, and dry air is a tropical cyclone's worst enemy. It's not so much a problem throughout Saturday and Sunday as this system intensifies, but it's certainly going to become a problem as this tropical cyclone gets closer to the Australian coastline, whether that be Western Australia or the Northern Territory, and that is also reciprocated amongst the other forecast models. Because of the rotation of this system, it will be sucking in an awful lot of dry air from the Northern Territory and Western Australia, and it's going to have some pretty nasty conditions to be contending with as it approaches the Australian coastline. And that's why weakening will be very apparent as this system makes its final approach to landfall, whether it be from the Access G3 model or the ECMWF model, depending on where this tropical cyclone forms. It will still have to fight high levels of wind shear and also some pretty nasty dry air values as well by the looks of things. You can see that the surface low as well is very displaced from the center of circulation in the mid-levels. It's going to be what we call a tilted tropical cyclone, and that means that the stormer won't be vertically stacked properly. Really going to make it quite troublesome for this system to fire up some good thunderstorm activity. So all roads point to this system having a very quick intensification. It'll have a quick intensification on Saturday and Sunday before rapidly weakening off after after about 24 hours or so. Whether it happens on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or even earlier on in the weekend, we've really got to wait a couple more days and really see what the forecast models have to say regarding this system. I'm not 100% sure. I can just really give you specifics on what this system is going to be doing once it hits peak intensity, and that will be rapidly weakening as it approaches the Australian coastline. Again, there'll be much more detail regarding this system's forecast Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so be sure to watch out for those forecast updates. And yeah, hoping to release daily weather videos on this YouTube channel as well, so yeah, make sure you are subscribed for those. But yeah, looking quite good in terms of the forecast for this tropical cyclone right now, at least when it rapidly intensifies. But yeah, once it hits peak intensity, it's going to be rapidly weakening by the looks of things. As well, we're going to be taking a look at some other tropical lows as well that could be forming in the Coral Sea. It looks like from around Friday onwards, we're going to be moving into a much more active period, really late on into April as well, and that's all because of what we call the Madden-Julian Oscillation, which is, you can think of it as a big energy ball that's moving clockwise around the globe's equator, and that provides the tropics with a lot of energy, and that's why typically you have monthly cycles of wet season activity. So take, say, the first day of the month might be a really tropical day, or the first week of the month might be a tropical day, and then it kind of dives down a bit, and then the first week of the next month is also really tropical, or around 35 days later, and that's aligned with the Madden-Julian Oscillation. That's aligned with the energy that is rotating around the world, and it looks like we're going to hit another monsoonal peak probably by around Friday or Saturday the 19th or the 20th of April, and that will continue towards Sunday, Monday, and into next week as well, and that's going to be providing the South Pacific Basin with some significant energy to really fire up some good tropical cyclone activity. By the looks of things, maybe 1 or 2 weak tropical cyclones could form very late on in the season. I mean, at this time we're heading into late April, so we're really starting to push it in terms of activity thresholds for the South Pacific Basin. Typically you see activity reserved for February and March, but definitely not late into April. That is very unusual, and some very late season activity that we could be seeing heading for Vanuatu and Fiji as well. Again, with it being 10 days out in advance, or around 8 days out in advance, we're going to have to wait a couple of days and really see what's going on in regards to activity. So we'll give it till about Wednesday or Thursday to really get a good understanding on what's actually happening in terms of this tropical activity in the South Pacific area for Vanuatu and for Fiji as well. But at this time, looking quite good in terms of activity for people that love to see tropical cyclones, myself included, not the ones that hit Australia or other areas around the world, of course. It does actually look pretty good for activity, so we'll have to really wait and see what happens over the next week. But yeah, wet season 2024 really doesn't want to quit by the looks of things. In terms of activity happening around the world, there's really not much to talk about. I can't wait for the West Pacific to really start firing up activity. As I said on the main channel this morning, we're going to be talking about Western Pacific typhoons quite a lot, especially the strong ones, because they're in a league of their own. Some of the Western Pacific tropical typhoons, I should say, especially the ones that go for the Philippines basically every year, they are truly some interesting systems. You do not want to be missing that. And if that is your cup of tea, then make sure you are subscribed, and also leave a like on the video while you're at it. But a quick update to really start things off on this channel. I'm not sure if the weather updates here will be daily, but there'll certainly be 2 or 3 a week. I really hope that I can produce at least 2 a week, and I can promise at least 1 a week. So yeah, if it is your cup of tea, then make sure you are subscribed. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.